Joining us now, retired HSI and ICE special agent, now a candidate for Texas's 23rd congressional district. I want to welcome back to the program, Victor Avila. Victor, how about it? How does a cartel get a hold of one of our, you'll know better than me, an AT-4 anti-tank rocket launcher? That's American made. How do they get that? That's not something that's usually out there on the black market, is it?
It's not, but it's very easy for them because they have one thing called money, billions of dollars. And along with the corruption in Mexico, there is no enforcement at the borders in Mexico. You know, all my career that I worked in Mexico and along the border, I never understood because people thought, well, you know, the fentanyl is coming in, the precursors is coming in from China, the weapons are going in for the U.S., but you never hear of seizures happening on the Mexican side. They have customs there. They have immigration, but it doesn't matter because of the corruption in Mexico. It's a free-for-all. So whatever the cartel wants, they get. These are highly sophisticated weaponry. And by the way, that is a weapon of war that he's carrying there. And they have vehicles, tanks, all heavily equipment that they fight with the military on a daily basis. Just on the other side of Texas, between Brownsville and McAllen, they're almost right now a daily firefights during the day, and countless of videos that I get sent by sources of firefights in the middle of the day, people running, throwing themselves on the ground. But that's not the Middle East, Dan. It's right here next to us in Mexico.
I know, this is just insane. And again, we don't know where it came from. We've already heard reports that somewhere between 30 and 50% of the armament, the weaponry, and the ammunition that we sent to Ukraine left. There's been no oversight there. There was supposed to be oversight. And then obviously you go back to the Afghanistan debacle. We know for a fact that some of that stuff has already ended up, I've heard, in Iran, Syria, and possibly China. So it would make sense that probably the Taliban sold some stuff to the cartel, or maybe those mercenary groups that have been working for Ukraine sold to the cartel. Because, I mean, unless you're coming to America and buying it off somebody and one of our own sold it to them off of a base, I find that hard to believe. I think it came through one of those two. It's got to be Ukraine or Afghanistan. I don't know what your sources are telling you, but it makes sense to me.
Well, to me, it's a harsh reminder of Operation Fast and Furious. Remember that, where our own government was sending weapons. I mean, my partner was killed and I was shot with two of those weapons. And by the way, those weapons ended up in Benghazi, ended up in France. El Chapo Guzman had a 50 caliber Fast and Furious weapon. So this is the networking that I want people to understand about that cartels. Not only do they have the money and the power, but they have the networking and the sources out there, not just in Mexico and the U.S., but around 40 to 50 countries, gathering everything that they need to continue their agenda in passing and getting the drugs to our country and making money, and the human beings as well now.
Yeah, let's talk about those human beings, Victor, because, you know, you're hanging up your hat of being an employee, and now you're becoming a political figure because you're running for office, and you're running against what I would consider a really deep state rhino down in Texas 23rd. That's Tony Gonzalez, the Republican down there, who does not vote and sound like a Republican to me. Best of luck on that, by the way. But now that you're getting into the political realm, I wanted to get your take on something. Put up that headline about New York. Can you guys in the back here? So we know that Governor Abbott from your state and also DeSantis from Florida has sent a lot of these illegals to the state of New York, which is a sanctuary state. They sent them to New York City, Manhattan, because it's a sanctuary city. Well, now all of a sudden, the mayor there is busing those folks who already got bused once up to him into smaller conservative communities in upstate New York. And those politicians are fighting mad, and the governor, Ms. Hochul, is defending the mayor of New York, saying, yeah, it's his right to ship them up there to those towns that don't want them. By the way, those towns are not sanctuary cities. Your reaction to that, Victor?
They're overwhelmed. And one thing that you're not hearing a lot about the reports are the problems that they're having with these people in Chicago at the police stations and the hotels. A lot of crime, prostitution, drugs that is going on amongst them. I heard a report today of a couple of illegal alien couple having sex under a police sergeant's desk. I mean, this is ridiculous that's happening. And they kind of asked for it, but then it got to them and they don't want to really deal with it. The source of the problem we know is down at the border. And unfortunately, we're not doing much over here in the state of Texas. I tell you, we just finished the legislation. We're going to the session. We're going to a special session to address border security. But I just came from an event today here in San Antonio, Texas, where they're not going to address the full border security issue that I want to see. They're only going to talk about penalties for human smuggling and other things like that, not addressing the influx of the people. And let me tell you really quick, because I just got this information as I was driving over here. In Eagle Pass, Texas, there's you're going to see a surge of numbers of crossing, and it's going to happen more after Sunday. Why? In Mexico, they're holding elections, gubernatorial elections in Mexico, and so the governors have been kind of helping on the Mexican side so they can look good for their election. As soon as that happens on Sunday, the floodgates are going to open. They're telling me there's thousands of people on the other side of Matamoros in Brownsville, the other side of Eagle Pass, and they're coming through. They're busing them to Del Rio on the U.S. side to help to another NGO that I think they're aiding and abetting. The NGOs, the buses that I used to see there, they used to park them at the mall, no longer at the mall. They're parking them behind the airport so you could not see them. And then they go and distribute these people all over to San Antonio, all over around the country, to DFW. The smuggling, the illegal invasion continues no matter what you hear, because now they don't even want, the illegals don't even want to use the CBP-1 app. They don't even want to apply. They are frustrated. They hear and they see what is actually happening, and they're seeing that Title 8 is not being enforced. Title 8 is the law, is immigration. It is not being enforced, especially when it comes to family units. Guess what?
Right.
That word travels fast, and they're on their phones telling everybody it's a free for all. Forget Title 42. That's over and done with. It's actually open, more open, and a clearer path to get in here.
Ugh. All right, Victor, best of luck. We got the website up if we can, guys. It's victoravila4congress.com if you want to learn more about his bid for Texas 23rd to unseat Mr. Gonzalez down there in the primary. Victor, sounds like, I think folks can tell, you're a no-nonsense, follow-the-law guy, and I know you will push to lock that border down if elected. So best of luck to you, brother. Take care.
Thank you.
Yep.